Hey, Dev.
Yo.
Who's sponsoring this episode?
Colossal.
I think it's colossally crazy that I didn't know that.
I think it's a colossal failure on your end.
Colossal.
Anyway, this episode is supported by Colossal, a brand new way to discover beats online. Colossal lets artists gain exclusive access to beats from top industry producers. These are beats that are usually only reserved for major artists, and they're partnering with new producers every day. We're excited to share that Colossal is now in beta, so if you're an artist looking for beats, check it out now. And if you're a producer and want to get on the platform and sell more beats, register now at colossal.fm/producers. And it's free, no subscription costs. The app has a killer feature called Vibes, which is a totally new take on beat discovery. Just describe the kind of beats you're looking for, and Vibes gives you a personalized feed to scroll through, just like TikTok. Visit colossal.fm right now to get started.
We're say something so flagrant that you have to delete it, but I'm gonna let it rock.
What's so flagrant? Not at the top of the episode. Please, not at the top of the episode. I beg of you.
So you can delete it.
I beg of you. You've been traveling a lot.
Yes.
Courtney is just a man, and what do you? Huh? 8. Yeah, we're just gonna keep this going. There we go. Okay, Courtney just fixing angles. He's coming back to the seat.
You trying to be my twin, bro?
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't see you in a minute. How much time you just went? Leaving. You took every. All right.
Yo, you see how quick he is to take credit for any fashion piece? Yo, I could pull up with a jacket. He gonna be like, bro, I've been wearing jackets since before you were born.
That's a lie. But is that true? First of all, you'll pull up and you'll have something, and I won't even say nothing about, yo, that's really nice. And then he'll be an a-hole and say, yo, bro, honestly, bro, I've been doing this for like a minute, bro. This is like some new. I'm like, bro, I put you on to that. And you gatekeep.
You put me on the beanies?
No, I didn't put you. I don't think I put you on the beanies. I didn't put you on the beanies.
I just said we beanie gang, and you just took that personal.
I like beanies now, though. I do like beanies. I have a lot of beanies.
Yeah. So do I. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I've been buying more beanies.
Me too.
At that. We discovered something mutually.
There we. Okay.
Look
deal.
At that. You see that?
Deal.
But cargos, I did put you on. So
you did not put me on the cargos, bro.
Cargos?
That's OD, bro.
I think what's his name? Jake from State Farm put us all onto cargos.
Khakis.
Yeah, it's khakis. Yeah, word. It's the pants of the dads.
I'm not the fashionable guy.
Anyway, I'm gonna introduce the podcast. What's going on, y'all? It's the
My Fashion Nerds.
It's my no.
It's my fashion.
Never doing that. It's the Studio Nerds podcast, the podcast for studio nerds like yourself. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And also remember, one lucky person in the comment section is either gonna receive that gold edition VIP Rosetta EQ, Rosetta compressor, or the Black Vortex.
Ding, ding, ding. Is there a gold version of that?
Yes, there is a gold version.
Why don't I have it?
Because you haven't even installed the original, have you? That I sent you.
It's on my laptop. Actually, you lucky I don't have my laptop right now.
I want to see what version you got, because that's going to tell me everything.
I know. I still have probably the beta.
Yeah. You probably got the beta. Disgusting.
The beta be smacking a little hard.
No, it don't. It don't. It got bugs. Okay. You need to get that off your computer. You see? That's why I was scared. That's why I was calling you like, yo, you got that beta? I was like, yo, you need to get that beta off. Yo, y'all don't understand. The scariest thing about developing a plugin is the first day you put it on 20 people's computers.
And they all have issues.
Bro, let me tell y'all something. And behind closed doors, this happens to everyone. Trust me, it does. Where you send the beta, and then you go in the beta group, and you wait, and you like, y'all installed it? They're like, yeah. You like, and you sit
Everything's missing from my session.
Bro, nah, nothing like that.
I have no more sample packs.
Nothing like that. But it's more like they install it, and bro, they just like, hey, this is messed up. This is messed up. This I noticed in this. My name is Devvon Terrell. I'm a Pro Tools user, but can I say, but man, you know.
Not yet. We got to lead with love.
I am. I'm leaving with love, man. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like,
it's time.
The things I'm facing in Pro Tools lately, bro, on the production side is starting to
Why are you producing things?
Because it's a workflow thing, man.
Do me a favor. Try producing in Logic.
No, I'm going to try Studio One.
No, try Logic.
Studio One.
Yuck.
Studio One. I'm going to try Studio One.
Brother.
I like Logic for you, too, yeah.
You like Logic for me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't like Logic, man. Why? Because some things in it with my Pro Tools brains feel impractical. Like when I'm like, where's the mix window? And I'm looking for the button, and I'm just like, okay, hit X. Like I don't even know how to get to the mix window. Like through clicking. I just know that I gotta press. It just the automation. It's just certain things that just don't fit for me. Like the EQ thing, and I understand some of the cool things they have, but even the routing. Yo, we went crazy in FL the other day. Bro,
wait.
I wanted
What's
to
your
call
name,
you
bro?
and curse you out. Go ahead. Your DAW routing is insane.
It's amazing.
No, it's not.
Ooh, we're gonna get
it's the worst
My
on
name
earth.
is the Magnificent Number 12. How y'all doing?
Yo, he has the most influence on this podcast.
Yeah, because everybody just be saying 12.
12.
For no
People
reason.
I don't even know.
Can I be honest?
Right.
Ableton can never go to 13. You better hope they do.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. You gotta, what you gonna say? I'm 13?
That's kind of
Sound
crazy.
like it's just their unlucky day.
Oh, yo, nah, I ain't gonna, yo, come on, bro.
Bro, I rap.
He not gonna rock with you.
Come
I'm
on,
gonna rock
man.
with you. I'm gonna rock with you.
He said he not going there. I got you.
Gotta tell.
But let's talk about that routing. What's going on?
What's
bro?
up with the FL routing?
So OTR Live coming at this time that is out. OTR Live is out and stuff like that, which is it's gonna be that's gonna be massive for us. We're doing live streaming where we do like live feedback. Nice. Producers come and stuff like that. We'd love to have Sweater on, by the way, at some point. So we're like saying we're setting up and shooting holes in like the setup. We're like, if a producer comes in and wants to produce like live, okay, what is the setup like? So we was like, oh, let's just plug the producer into the interface. That way everything is set. So you plug into the interface, you can cook up and everything. Okay. So we took Fritz's computer, and he has a Windows computer. He has FL. So I was like, for sure, let's hook this shit up. So we hook it up, and everything is playing. We're like, oh, cool. He's making beats. We're like, this is great. We was like, oh, let's record the microphone. Somebody go in there and record. So we go in the booth, and we're like recording. We're like, okay, levels is good. But we're like, oh, the headphones. We're like, oh, he can't hear playback, so the artist can't hear playback. So we put the headphones on, and we're like, okay, why are we not hearing anything? So in our system, to be nerdy, we do a send that's a separate output to the headphones. Yeah. Okay? So out 3-4, for instance, is just the headphone mix to our routing.
He's describing a dry send.
Basically. Yeah. So when we was trying to figure out how to send from the master, like a copy of the master signal out to 3-4, bro, we were sitting there for ever. Like, why can't we figure out how to where is the send? I couldn't figure out how to set up a send. How you set up a send in FL?
It's not that hard.
How you set up a send?
Every track, you can literally just pick a track.
So okay, so I'm on the master.
Okay.
Right? I'm on the master. Shout out Larry O. Chime in, bro. Tap in. So I'm on the master. How do I send that master signal, all those signals is going to the master, also to another output?
The little dongly wires you see on the bottom?
Yeah, we click that.
Send it to any track.
We could it. I don't know why it wasn't working. We figured out the donglies.
Personally, how I do is I have everything. So if it's just a beat or whatever, I have everything going to another track before it hits the master. So you could just do that.
Oh, so you just tap into everything that's hitting before. Yeah, but see, but a lot of producers are not going to be like quote unquote as organized as you.
Or you can use the current. You can have the current set to be.
The current has a purpose.
Yes, you could use the current. You could click on the master. Now the master will be the current track, and I have the current.
We finally figured out the purpose of current.
Well, current has a more practical purpose, but yes, you can use it for that.
What is it?
Y'all just need I'm gonna be so real with you, and I love you.
No, it's terrible. Don't do that.
No.
It shouldn't be that hard.
It should be that hard. It's not that hard. I'm gonna just say something, and I love you to death, bro. But Fritz don't know how to use FL.
Facts.
And also too,
can I say something? I was like, Fritz, you don't know what you're doing.
And also too, I'm not gonna lie, I clocked it from the moment you said what platform he was working on. Windows. Shout out Fritz, but also too, come on, you should have learned the lesson with me. Why y'all chose to test this on a non-unified audio system? Windows is not the best when it comes to DAWs.
But it don't even got nothing to do with Windows in that regard, though.
Well, that's
it was
true.
the DAW.
That's technically true.
Because my question to you is, okay, routing.
No, because he uses, if I'm not mistaken, Fritz has the ASIO.
He has ASIO drivers.
ASIO.
And it's just like
ASIO? I didn't know it said like that.
It's strange, bro.
Yeah, it's very
because now
weird.
on his FL you could use a different input and a different output. It's like it's strange, bro.
He can create like aggregate devices and stuff like
Windows FL and Windows Mac are two different
things. Yeah, FL Mac.
They're just different DAWs.
Can I say something that no one says? Mac's audio MIDI setup is one of the greatest things.
Greatest.
I hated it initially when I switched.
Me too.
Facts.
But it actually is really intuitive and it's easy to use. It just makes hella sense. Like,
could you? Oh my fault. Could you actually explain the current? Because when you just said it that way, I was thinking like, oh yeah, so is the current like a form of monitoring? Like up to a certain point within FL, but what is the purpose of the current as y'all know it to be?
The current I use as an AB. Long story short, if there's a plugin that I want to throw on a track that I want to hear what it sounds like before I actually commit it to the track, I'll add it to the current, click on the track. And literally the way the current works is any track you click on, becomes the current. Basically.
Wow.
If that makes sense. So if I click on track 18 and I solo it, it's only going to show me what's on track 18.
Okay.
So I can add plugins to the current on track 18 and just see how the effects would sound on it without adding it to track 18.
Without actually adding it to track 18.
It's a dedicated solo track.
Basically,
kind of,
yeah.
sort of. That's what I can see
basically.
that.
So on my master, if I don't want to, if I have GP on my master, if I have nothing on my master, but I know GP is gonna end it, God Particle is gonna end my master.
Right.
I put my I put current. I put the master on the current. Click on the master. So now everything I put on the master is going to come before what's on the current.
Okay.
So I could just try shit. Into, granted, I could also just go into track 10 and put God Particle on the bottom, but it's another option.
So that's why your current track, when you send stems, current is in there because that's currently what was played.
Yeah,
like kind of thing, everything.
Yeah, and what you could really do is what you could really do is I'm thinking now, and I've never tried it, but on the master, I could use possibly my current as the master, quote unquote. So if I'm sending you a beat and I'm putting God Particle, all of that stuff, I could have the current be the version with all the effects on it, and master just be the dry, clean.
Right. So you could just bounce it easy.
It's innovative. I think it's very intuitive.
I'm not gonna lie, from when you first started like showing me the sessions you were getting from him with the stems and stuff, I was like, this kind of makes sense to me because it doesn't make sense how. Like, all doors work in a certain way when you're bouncing out stems. They're going to give you everything you literally, like, need. The other person needs to receive.
Right.
Why does FL bounce with the current? I'm like, there has to be a purpose where it's just like, this would have been how all of this would have sounded before X, Y, and Z. But then you have the master that adds X, Y, and Z type shit, or vice versa. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a great purpose.
Ironically, that we on the subject of routing, you know, one thing that just, like, not makes me mad, but just like making me think like there's got to be an easier way is someone way smarter than me can chime in. You know how when you have to bounce stems for someone?
Yes.
Say for instance, I'm a producer, right? Ironically, I do produce my stuff. I produce my stuff, but ironically, I'm in the session, so I don't have this issue of like, okay, I gotta send out beats. I don't really send beats out for other people. Right. But if I mixed my beat, right, and I have a drum bus, right? Okay. And I want to send my stems out. I want my snare to sound like my snare that was in my session, but you have stuff on your drum bus that you added, you know, saturation or transient stuff like that too. My question to y'all is, when you're bouncing out your beat stems, how are you bouncing it, right? Because now you're bouncing it individually, but you also have it going through a drum bus or some type of saturation. How are you still getting the sound of your beat over to people without it being altered in the sense of like, hey, it sounds different? Because I've gotten beats from y'all before, and I have to like recreate a little bit.
Certain things.
I'll be honest, I started sending stems very differently after we did our Run of LA episodes because I kept hearing that, hey, if it's together, why are we separating them when it comes time to bounce?
We're about to make the same point.
And I also remember that engineers are really good at their job, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So y'all have mixed worse. So if
sure.
I send you a full drum track, y'all will be just fine. Yep. So sometimes I just leave everything together was set together rather than separate everything.
And that's how you sent me R&B Dreams. You sent
everything together.
And I was like,
it didn't make your job easier.
Can I be honest with you? Yes and no. I didn't have to do as much because I didn't have much I could do, right? But at the same time, I was like, okay, cool. This is his sound. This is what he likes. I'll just, like manipulate like this. But at the same time, I knew in my heart, damn, if I had the individual though, I could probably get more blah, blah, blah,
but
blah,
at
blah.
what cost?
And so
because I'll also say, when I send out, like I said, I record everything in FL. I record my vocals and all of that. And now I'm at the point where I'm starting to send stems out from my actual recording sessions so they can get mixed in Pro Tools. But one thing that I always usually do, ask anyone, is I leave my backgrounds all together. I don't separate.
You don't want them to manipulate that,
exactly.
which I appreciate. I
don't like my backgrounds being super. That's how you get super compressed backgrounds. That's how you get whatever this that. And I just kind of like the sound of my background.
Right,
it's different. It's like the James Fauntleroy doubler vocal. You know what I mean? It just has the
you dialed it in.
So I just keep them together because I don't want them super different. And you might be able to take it to another level, but is that what I want?
Right.
Yeah,
kind of
right.
And
that's another thing I've been.
That's why I didn't complain. That's why I didn't say anything. I was like, okay, that's but I've been getting that a lot.
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, because I feel like my bad. Because I've been very, very very particular on the sonics, and thankfully it hasn't been an issue of like super revisions and everything because I'm working with some amazing engineers. Right. However, like that's something that I'm even noticing like with my label, like from time to time I'll just be like, hey y'all, just remember I know this shit. Like,
right.
Everybody else, you could approve everybody else's mixes. I can't have that happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm super particular, and maybe it comes with sometimes sacrificing. Hey, I'm just gonna send you the drum track because I like the way the kick is hidden, and I know if I separate. I've also noticed, when I do separate all the drums, sometimes it will give me a different sound. Maybe I like it. It's just a gamble.
It is.
Because there was a record that Tizio mixed, but I also got a mix from someone else, and it was just comparing, and the biggest difference was the drums. But that was because I sent everything separately, so they attacked the drums differently. It just sounded, and that's what honestly sold the mix. You know what I mean? And everything is subjective, but things could get too subjective.
I get you
in that process,
and you're just limiting the margin of error for change in that regard.
Exactly. Yes.
Damn.
So now,
I think it was Bob Horn that said that, right? When the K-pop guys,
What one thing in regard, and I'll come right over to you, Courtney. One thing I'll say is that when I get a client's background vocals, I literally just make it. I just take all the buses of their stuff and just make my own track to enhance that
group together,
group, because I just know in my heart as an artist, you can't even change that like mid harmony by a dB. I'm gonna notice, and you're gonna change the whole harmony sound.
It's still a shift though. So and that's the funniest thing that you put my mind on to like 3-ish years ago when we first started attacking it. Separation literally like attributes so much more than people think to a sound. So I do side with Levens in the sense of there's certain moments where I'm just like, all right, is this like a moment of a string section? Is this a moment of like a drum fill particularly? Certain sounds I'll be like, all right, let's just stem it out as a bus, send it over. If we run into any problems, then we can just like readdress it. I can always go back into the session, bounce out the individuals and stuff like that. But I do also agree with him when it's like, when you send things separately, let's say like the drum bus trick you just told me the other day, I have that on, but now I'm taking my whole entire drum bus and I'm like, well, this is now a mix. I have to send out the kick. So now I'm sending out the kick, going through its own processing, going through the drum bus processing, but it's still just the kick getting to you, then the snare. Now, versus me printing that whole entire bus as I know it to sound in the session, now I'm giving you all these different drum bus affected singular stems. That's going to sound different when you put all those together versus me taking the actual loop itself, though, the whole entire section.
Here's the problem. Let me just wrap his thing up. Here's the problem. Pause. Now that when I take that kick and I put it through Orion by itself, it's a whole different sound.
Because it's already a kick going through Orion.
But the way it's triggering, the other information that was there cohesively isn't there now. So now when the kick is running through Orion, it's like it's just the kick, not the hi-hats and all that. So all the parameters, the way it's hitting the actual Orion plugin, for instance, is different. The way it's hitting the limiter is different. So that's why I've always had the problem of, and why I bring it up so much. And I think some engineers kind of like, when I brought it up to them, they kind of like, yeah, well, just bounce, bounce it through. Shout out Ben Thomas.
Ben Teasy.
Let me say this.
That's my boy.
One time I was talking to Ben. I said, look, listen to me. I said, how would you attack this? Like, what do you think we could do to? He said, well, maybe what you should do is, or maybe we should do is set up a side chain. Check this out. This is weird. Set up a side chain of the entire drum bus, right?
Okay.
And so now the plugins are reacting like they were reacting to the entire sound, but then you solo and let the kick go through it by itself with that processing of the side chain into the plugin. It sounds mad confusing, but someone out there can understand where you're still the side chain is basically still giving the same input and same attack and same grit and same like voltage into the actual plugins. But now I'm able to just say, okay, well, now that's a side chain, I'm soloing the kick through that side chaining of how it's attacking
so
things.
now that I've side chained the whole thing, I want to just hone in and really make that side chain
stem by stem.
The kick's frequency.
No, stem by I'm going stem by stem. Kick, snare, hi-hat, but it's reacting, the plugins are reacting to the side chain of the total. And I was like, my brain was like, okay.
Yeah, that's a meta type mixing decision.
But once again, I don't want to do all that. Like it's
yo, and you know what's so crazy? And you know what's so crazy? shout out, like you said, shout out Bob Horn for sure. And you know who keeps me in the Bob Horn mental space of just like, don't overthink it? Love him. Love our guy. Shout out fucking Dro.
Oh, what about him?
From our last conversation with him at the engineers panel.
That's my guy.
When he was just like, I could do all that stuff. I really can because I have the know-how.
Yeah.
Why though?
Yeah.
Do I need to?
The record don't be needing all of that.
Can
I tell y'all a story? Actually,
I'm with you.
Tell y'all
I'm with Dro.
story.
I'm from the Dro. I'm from that Dro mindset. Like,
Man,
for sure.
I'm
I
gonna
love
tell
that.
y'all a story, right? And I didn't even want to talk about this on the pod, but I guess I'm gonna talk about it. So I put out a record, right? Sweater One Life is out right now, but I put out a record called One Life. And with
that video doing well too, by the way.
Oh no, it's smacking. But the video he's talking about is a making of video that I did where I was at the studio, I was at the Hit Factory, and I was making the record from scratch off of SSL 2 Plus.
Yo,
I seen that. That was me,
right?
Shout out me,
the T-boy.
Shout out me. Shout out
I didn't
me.
even point it out. You pointed it out to me. Like, you was vibing. I was like, yo, this shit hard. I texted him, and then he showed me a screenshot. And he's like, what's wrong with this picture? And there was an SSL 2 Plus on the table.
But yeah, no, I was working that record, right?
Gross.
And there's a part of the video, and it kind of went viral on the gram where I called Ninth, and I was like, yo, need some drums on this record.
Yes.
Shoot, what's the word? He sends me back some drums like 10, 20 minutes later, and it's this break that fits it so well.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Now, the overproducers, and I'm going to call them the overproducers. I'm not going to even do anything crazy, but in the comments, there was a lot of people saying, oh, he fleeced you. He just went and found a break that's been used 1 million times.
Okay.
And just threw it on there and took your publishing and did that, this, that.
They don't know how
But
you
it's
Knife.
and I'm gonna read exactly what he said because he said something back.
In the comment section.
Yeah, like he said something back, and I didn't expect that. I was just ignoring it because in the back of my mind, I'm like,
they also don't know how close you and Knife Wonder are.
oh, no, he discovered me. That is my guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Fleeced it.
ain't
That's
no
crazy.
It couldn't.
Y'all tripping. I'm not gonna lie.
It became such a big conversation. It was like, yo, I've heard this drip breaking this. I could have done that. You could have done that. You didn't need to call Ninth for that.
Okay.
It's like this, that. But here's my response first. Half of producing, maybe more than half of producing, is doing what the song needs, not really it's just putting the song first.
Yeah. Yep.
Of course, that's one of the greatest producers of all time. He could have went crazy with the drums. He could have gave me the most craziest break, whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, we're not selling music to producers.
Yeah.
This is not a beat battle. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make the greatest beat. I'm trying to help make the greatest song.
Right.
I sent him a song. I sent him a bunch of instruments. All I asked was drums. Yeah. I didn't ask for the best drums. I asked for the right drums for the song because we're in the business of selling to consumers. We're not selling to musicians. And with all due respect, I love my musicians. I grew up a musician, and the stank face is one of the highest honors you can get.
It's an honor.
But at the same time, I will take the crowd singing along before the stank face any day.
That's true.
And he said, he basically said what I just said in a shorter version, like just do what needs to be done for the betterment of the song. But somebody said it. He was like, yo, XJ Music, shout out to you. He said to everyone saying, I could have done that. The point is, you wouldn't have done that. You would have done way more. But sometimes you need to do what the song needs. Every hole does not need to be filled, and you don't need a hard-hitting transient on every 16th or anything super complicated. The very best thing, what? Can I not read or something?
Probably.
The very best can do things that will leave you scratch your head. And you could say he ain't do nothing, but that's why they're the very best, because I think that was the best break for the song. I can't hear the song with any other groove or it just felt right. And that's not fleecing. I think that's contributing. The same way Timbaland on Stronger gets a piece of Stronger because he had the drums that Kanye couldn't find, even though Kanye went to Pharrell for it.
Right.
Kanye went to whoever. Kanye said he went, how many revisions? It was 80 revisions of Stronger.
Yeah, that was a crazy,
But Timbaland came through and gave him a kick and a snare and that's what worked.
That was it.
And guess what? That song is Diamond.
Yeah.
Kanye would have came to you and y'all would have gave him the craziest Just Blaze
Oh,
symbol, whatever. It may have sounded dope to me. I would have hit you with the but my mom don't care.
That's tight.
You know what I mean? And we're selling music. We're not selling beats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want y'all to take that away. It's like, please if you are in the business of creating songs for the world and you have the goal of creating hit records, I know it's very cool to say, I'm not doing it for Grammys no more, I'm doing it for me, all of that. So if that's you, cool. You don't got to listen to me. But if you're in the business of wanting to get that hit record, wanting to create the the song that'll be the soundtrack to the random lady who's in Staten Island working at IBM, her life, or me and Devvon who listen to mixes all day and we just need something to cleanse our ears and really bop to, stuff like that. Like, put the song first. Nothing is bigger than the art. I learned something from Pharrell. Shout out Pharrell. And I think he said this in an interview. None of these ideas belong to us. None of these ideas. Think of it like a library. We're all checking out these ideas. That's why you need to just constantly create, because all of these ideas are there. I remember Michael Jackson saying that he would literally run to the studio to get out an idea from his head before Prince stole it from him. That's how he would think about it.
He said it verbatim, before Prince stole it from him?
Before Prince stole it
from him. They really had a thing, man, back in the day.
And it's like, for sure. I don't disagree, because how many times have we had an idea of a song and then somebody did it, or a sound, we're like, yo, this is the next sound, and somebody beat us to it. Yeah, so I feel like nothing is bigger than the art. When you're creating art, this is where we're servicing the universe, we're servicing the art, and we're checking out these ideas to get our turn with them, and we're putting them back into the world for somebody else to get their piece. That's how sampling comes about. That's how these inspiration, quote unquote, comes about. And I get it. We all have this idea or longing to be different, longing to be great, this, that. But at the same time, if you're putting things out for the world, also remember that certain times you just gotta make it consumable for the world. Right. If that makes sense. But yeah, it's the art. I put the art first before any of us, any of our egos, before any of our careers, legacies, all of that. The product is the big thing. Right. And maybe I just rambled for a bunch, but that's kind of my cool. Word of the day.
Cause I think we've both been down that path. Well, obviously probably all three of us, where we've even had situations where a producer sends us something back and we're like, yo, we stripped the crap out of
my God.
everything.
My first placement with you was that. Well, remember when you coming back on the Raw Sound Volume 2 was I sent a beat that was doing a lot on the melodics, but the drums are right. Somebody else sent a beat that was doing a lot on the drums, but the melodics were right. And then he just...
Oh my gosh, what a splice. Yeah, exactly. I forgot about that. Yeah. It was called, what was the song?
When You Coming Back.
When You Coming Back, right. You did and I took your drums from the one.
Yeah, drums and bass,
and then I took the melodics from the other person, and then I meshed them together. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's don't overthink the art, man. Like, the reason why we like... Why the hell you lying,
dog?
Like, it's stupid. It was underproduced. The reason why we like not turn my swag on. This right here.
She got a dunk.
Swag.
Like, bro, She Got a Dunk is a three.
Like, say what you want. He's a terrible producer. He's a terrible rapper. Yada yada. He created something that was very easy to consume for a lot of people, and whether you think quality wise is not up there with As by Stevie Wonder, of course it's not.
Of course, right.
Come on. Right. But at the same time, there's something alike in both records. And it's the fact that it was pleasing to the ear for a lot of people. A lot of people were able to digest it. It wasn't doing a lot. Right. As I want to say wasn't doing a lot as much as it was doing, you know what I mean?
Type shit.
Because it was just enough. It was the right drums. And there always could have been somebody to do better on those drums, to play a better bass line, a more crazier guitar solo. But it's like, that's exactly what the art needed.
Yeah.
Put the art first.
And I am all for that. And I think that's one of the reasons that as an artist, so it's so funny because you and I have total opposites of life, where you were a producer first, artist second, right?
Well, I was a producer first, now I'm an artist
first. But I'm just saying, then second, then you became an artist, and then you have someone like myself that was an artist first, but then more or less started jumping into production. And for me, we both had.
And then we got Courtney that just picked all of it up at the same time.
Courtney just do both, and I think the duality of both is so powerful because I think as an artist, when you are producing, you're already thinking
the song first.
Like, I'm always thinking of song. I'm not thinking to myself, yo, when they hear this drop part here, or when I change or do a turn or four on the floor, like, I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking about. I'm always thinking about space. Shout out to who's our guy? First person that came on this podcast.
Amorphous.
Jameer. No. Jameer. Shout out Jameer too.
Swag.
Shout out Jameer. Swag. Second person. It was. I forgot who came first, but
Amorphous came first.
So Swag. Shout out Swag because he said something to me, and it sat with me forever on my production side. He said, I like space. And when he said that, I was like, damn, he's so right. And I always produce with that in mind now, where it's like, even if I have something that constantly goes, like, I just make sure I create kind of like dead spots here and there, where I don't know. I just love my pocket.
Taking things away intentionally is just as important as adding things. Element.
And it's a gift and a damn curse for the simple fact of like, I always think the mind is one of the most powerful things ever. It created everything. It's revolutionizing everything, and I feel like two minds are always better than one, right? So in one mind, my producing writing self is chaotic and trying to fight each other, all of that. But then when I look at like my favorite producer ever, I always say D-Mile, and he does not write. He damn near
doesn't write. He doesn't like it.
I'm not gonna say hate, but he does not like writing.
He said, I don't really like this song. I was like, yo.
And in the back of my mind, it's like, it makes me laugh because when you put, and I don't know if Lucky Day or Victoria don't produce, but I do know they're incredible writers.
Yes.
So when you put an incredible writing mind and an incredible producing mind, where they're staying in their lane, but they come together to create something, it's like, that's why them songs sound so amazing to me, because there's just the perfect amount of space, there's just the perfect amount of whatever, but it's coexisting in a way where they're both putting the art first, so you can hear it.
And you know what I think that gray area is, which is funny. Again, he said that he comes from the producer perspective first, artist second. You come from the artist perspective first, producer second.
Yeah.
I think if I'm being honest about my perspective, how I kind of like navigate both sides within my niche is from the perspective of the audience, and that to me I think is a perspective that gets lost on a lot, and I think it helps a lot both the artist and the producer at that point of the song is done when there's nothing left to take away. Ask yourself, the John Bellion his explanation, can this work with just my acoustic vocals and
I thought about that the other day
acoustic
too.
guitar? The what Camper said is the Kanye logic. Can this work at a funeral, a graduation, a wedding,
and a birthday
party? It's just that perspective of just like, again, coming back to where we started. Does this need it? Asking yourself the question, if I put this out, can whoever listens to this song take away the message that I like wanted to put down on this? Cool. So maybe you don't need that synth on bar 54. Maybe you don't need that drum fill on section 82. I don't know. But you know.
And if it does, cool.
And if it does require it,
Also remember that, once again, we're checking out these ideas. Sometimes your idea could have been better, cool, but this is the art is in the hand. Even though we're servicing the art is in the hand of the creator. So as an artist, that's why it did bother me for like maybe 20 minutes, but then I was in Miami, so I grabbed the mimosa. That was fine. But but it did bother me when I saw those comments, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, first of all, Ninth could never fleece me. That's my guy. That's my OG. But at the same time, this was my song.
Word. Yeah, like, you made the decision.
Me and Ninth came together and we created something that was amazing. Me, KP, we came and wrote this record. Me and Josiah, we came together and we put this record that we were super confident out, and I'm not gonna say it belongs to me, but I was in control of how this set up, and I think I did a great job directing this product. So for somebody to come in and say, hey, I mean, Ninth the legend and all, but that wasn't the right one for it. Who are you to say that? You know what I mean?
To be honest with you also, and this is why, we talk about the comment sections and stuff like that. Yeah, some of the things y'all say, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, and I never really go into like haters in the comments and stuff, but some of y'all are just really say things that make you look silly. And unfortunately, smart people are not going to respond to you and check you on it because we don't care about you enough. You understand what I'm saying? But the things y'all say, you snitch on yourselves. One,
that's very true. Yeah.
Even on the Simone Torres episode, a lot of y'all, a lot of people, even to me, I was like, you're snitching on yourself. Like some of the comments they made, I was like, you're ignorant. Like that was real ignorant. Like just little things that I find. Even when I do like simple videos, like A and Bing something, like I don't hear a difference. Let me tell you something. There's a group chat somewhere that other people are laughing or looking at you like, don't trust that guy, because the fact that you're even saying to yourself, like you don't hear a difference, we're just like, okay. And I'm not referring to the Bob Horn thing, by the way.
No.
I'm not. Wait, hold on. Before you go anywhere, wait. I'm not referring to the Bob Horn thing. That is a whole
different
other thing. I'm talking about when I be like, check this out, A and B. It's the Bob Horn thing. To be honest, as far as that, just
we're gonna address that too. That's a whole other episode of content.
Okay.
But I think
not talking about the Bob Horn thing.
The bottom line of it is
We're wrapping.
Look, just let's not walk into rooms knowing everything, because there's a lot of room to learn. A lot of, I've been in rooms, I feel like every room I've been in with somebody I looked up to, I've put in as much as I've taken. Maybe not as much, but I've put in and I've taken out. I've taught some people who I never thought I'd teach, but I've also learned from them, and I feel like it's, you know what I mean, we don't know everything. On top of the fact, please, y'all, and it's the last time I'm gonna say please, because I really stopped reading the comments because of this one comment that I keep seeing. If we talk about something we love, please, it's not everything is an ad. The only ad you will see on this page, it comes right before the podcast. Before the episode, you'll see who this episode is sponsored by. But I promise you, I would be living in New York and my tax bracket would be higher if these companies were paying me. I can't even get free plugins anymore. Like, Teletone, I've been trying to get that so far.
To the ignorance out there, to the effing ignorance. You don't understand how whack it is to even see that, because it's like, and when I know it's not, to me, and I don't, like I said, I'm not reading the comments, but I just know that the few times that I have, it's just like, yo, this is an ad, and I'm like,
no, I'll say this, I don't read them as much. I know you get mad. That's why I got to follow.
Yeah, I told you not to.
I don't read them as much, but at the same time, I enjoy reading comments. Why? Because there's a community of people that is there. Unfortunately, in between that, you'll see things that aren't the nicest, but it comes with the game. So I have tough skin, thankfully. At the same time, I do want to let y'all know, hey, for the last time, you cannot find a company that has paid us under the table. And if you can, I will give you my seat on this pod. Nobody's paid us under the table to talk about their pod. Nobody has sent us things specifically for us to talk about the pod. Maybe we tested it and they sent it us, and then maybe that's a conversation we'll have. But the premise of this podcast and the way it started, the reason why it even is recorded now, because this has been a thing that us three specifically have done for the last 5-6 years since we've known each other. We like this. We're all engineers. We all have this knowledge of the studio that we like talking about. And I know this because when I get into a lot of sessions with a lot of y'all that watch the pod, we have these convos while the artist is waiting for us to shut up so they can do their take.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? And it's the funnest thing ever. And sometimes I like talking, exchanging plugins. I love telling them you're tripping for using an S1.
Yeah, you're using an S1. I'm like, bro, you gotta stop,
stuff
bro.
Like that. That doesn't mean Waves is not paying me because UAD's paying me to shit on the Waves. Right. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to know, and I really want to make this a clip because I feel like this only comes from, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt of our viewers, this only comes from people that just watch the clips. And every time they see a clip, it's us talking about a plugin because that's what clips are.
Right.
But I will say, Decap has never sent me an invoice.
Never.
Joshua has never sent me an invoice. And if Sam sent me an invoice, I do backflips right now because bills are due right now.
Can I also?
Yeah, then we got to wrap. Yeah.
Can I also say who never sent me personally an invoice?
What?
Because that's so funny that you said that and you landed on the clips. I don't know if either of the two of them caught it. I purposely crafted a certain clip last week because I was just like, I just wanted to test something within our community and stuff like that.
What?
You know for a fact we're not getting any sponsorships when in a clip I both told y'all that I would not recommend to a newcomer my own DAW.
Oh yeah, I see.
And then I endorsed a whole nother DAW.
That's kind of crazy.
Ableton's not sending me no checks. FL is not. I don't even think FL knows I exist. So again, please. My thing is, and they'll be nice to you and say that's not the case. That's not what's going on over here.
That's actually stupid.
I have a very low tolerance for common sense. Just and we always tell y'all, listen to what we're saying objectively. Listen to what we're saying objectively. And before you jump into the assumption or the accusation, just ask yourself, damn, are they really being sponsored, or are these young men just giving us transparent what they feel like is going on within these companies?
Because can I tell you something? And we'll wrap on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If we gatekept all the plugins we spoke about, oh my gosh. Remember when y'all was trying to gatekeep, was it Limitless? For a while, and it was in the comments.
Gatekeeping.
No, for like an episode.
We wasn't trying to talk about it yet for like a couple.
For like
because I think we wanted to look into it a little more. We was like, yo, we want to figure this out.
Yeah, facts.
Can I tell you something? You know what? Starting today, I'm gonna start gatekeeping.
No, next episode. Yo, the next episode, let's have a gatekeeping episode.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, because I got some heat for y'all. All right, we up this. So once again, if something is just a wrap, if something, ladies and gentlemen, if something is sponsored, I assure you, we will let you know, because you know what? A sponsor also helps us with that investment to elevate what we got going on and to keep this thing going. So we appreciate the sponsors. But at the same time, we're not afraid to call out the people that have sponsored this podcast in one way or another about something we don't like. Waves has sponsored us before, right? And boy, do we talk about Waves. UAD has sponsored us before. And boy,
I hate UAD.
Well, they sponsored us some stuff for the whatchamacallit. And boy, do we talk about UAD. And I can appreciate that a lot because the fact that I have the space, we have the space to be able to still give criticism on things we feel like I don't like that, or damn, I think that could be better. But at the same time, still be a part of the community and not just be this like behemoth that's like, we hate you and we hate you. No. Let's talk. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
We hated Waves for 6 months, but that didn't stop us from.
It makes no progress being at odds as opposed to having conversations. Like, that's my thing about being like kind of like this weird bipartisan kind of thing. It's like, no, let's have conversations to improve upon the thing.
Which you'd realize it's very possible when you look at how a lot of those companies react and communicate with y'all on those posts.
Some hate us to death.
Some don't like us.
Some will never.
Some say some very crazy things.
Cool. Behind closed doors. Some have, done things that I'm like, oh, we got to be careful around y'all because y'all weird.
Shout out like people like Montique. Very passionate, but he loves UAD.
Shout out Montique.
And we'll always have
he'll
good
be on my ass when I talk to
Montique pull up too. He'll be like, what's up, y'all?
What's up, bro?
Lie. It's to have
shout out Montique.
Pull up. But at the same time, it's really, we all have the same goal. Yeah. And I can assure you, my goal is not to make y'all spend money.
Tight.
My goal is to get y'all to what I believe. I'm not even to
it's
get
y'all. It's just to talk
we're sharing conversation. We're sharing information. Y'all teach us a lot, and I've bought stuff off of y'all word because you know what I mean.
Word.
I'm trying to get my songs up too, and if it's working for y'all, it could work for me.
Here's what it is.
And we get with the platform that we have, we do get questions about some of the things we're using and what's helping us get to where we are sonically, and we'd be remiss to not open that up to y'all. So I think it's very important that we remain transparent with y'all because I also understand what that looks like. And yeah, I'm just letting y'all know, hey, this whole shill shit, we could stop it. I don't want to talk about it again. So if you don't want to listen to us, I could care less.
That too.
Once again, find me a company that threw us a bag under the table, and I will give you my seat. I promise you. I'll fly you into New York too.
Got you. So this has been the My Studio Nerds podcast. Appreciate everybody. The podcast for Studio Nerds. Like yourself. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And also remember, one lucky person in the comment section is going to get one of our plugins, Gold Edition.
Yeah. We had too many.
Yeah, we got too many now. We got 3.
We got too many.
I got a plugin idea.
And also,
I know, bro. My next, boy.
He said, keep a lookout for the next one. But
ad
also,
name in the comments from Instagram because y'all don't be doing it.
You got to leave the ad name, but you also too have to make sure you become a paid member for Money in the Store.
Hey.
A bunch of never before seen just content, some templates, some live mixing and mastering sessions.
Yeah,
man. And can I push something too?
What?
Can we also have some special guests on some of those Geek Out sessions?
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Some special guests.
Shout out Ohad. He pulled up yesterday.
Yeah, shout out Ohad, my boy. Hey, we got 2 records out together.
All right, we got to wrap. All right, this has been the My Studio Nerds podcast. We save it for another episode.
And remember, in the words of Kevin Gates,